So the cosine and sine of an angle is, if you have the unit circle, the radius is 1. So the cosine is always going to be the x value. So this represents the cosine of a 30-degree angle is the x. And the sine is always the y value. So the cosine of theta, this is pronounced theta, cosine theta is the x coordinate at which the terminal side of the angle intersects the unit circle. That's what this means right here. And the sine of theta is the y coordinate. So when an angle is in standard position, we have the terminal side of the angle, and then we have the coterminal side. This represents this angle right here. So if you look on this diagram, you can get to the same spot right here if you go positive 135 degrees. So positive is going counterclockwise and negative is going clockwise. So you can either go this way or this way and get to the same spot. So these are called coterminal angles. So this part, find the measure of an angle between 0 and 360 that's coterminal with each angle. So if you have negative 100, you're going to go down here. This is negative 100. Another way that you can get there is to go positive 260 degrees. Remember, there's 360 degrees total in the circle. So another way you can do negative 60 degrees is to do positive 300 degrees, because that's going to give you to 360 degrees. And number 23, negative 225 is going to be up here, and 225 plus 135, positive 135, makes 360. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the difference between this number and 360. So 145, it's going to be right here. And then to get, instead of doing negative 145, I could do positive 215. And then the last one, 372, would be go once around plus 12 degrees more. So instead of going positive 372, I could go negative 248. Oh, it's 348. Oops. Okay, next part, find the exact value. So exact values mean that we'd want a simplified radical, or we don't want to have a decimal. So remember that cosine is x and sine is y. So if I draw a 45-degree triangle, or 45-degree angle, like this, the reference triangle, you're going to drop down and make it perpendicular to the x-axis. It's always perpendicular to the x-axis. So if you think about your 45-degree angle, if the radius is 1 of the unit circle, then to get the other sides, I need to divide 1 by root 2. So rationalize, it's going to be root 2 over 2. So this ordered pair represents the x value. So the x value, you have went over to the right, root 2 over 2. That's why the cosine of 45 degrees, which is the x value, is root 2 over 2. The sine is the y value. So the sine value is going to be positive root 2 over 2. So the ordered pair is going to be positive root 2 over 2, because that's the x value, and positive root 2 over 2, because that's the y value. So first thing you need to do is draw your angle, and then draw your reference triangle. And your triangle needs to make a 90-degree angle with the x-axis. So let's do 225. So 225 is go around 180 plus 45 degrees more. I'm going to go up to a 90 with the x-axis, and my hypotenuse is 1, and this distance is root 2 over 2, because this is creating a 45 degree angle. Should have wrote that in. And this distance is root 2 over 2. So if you're in this quadrant right here, you had to go left root 2 over 2. So that's negative root 2 over 2 is going to be your cosine, and negative root 2 over 2 is going to be your sine. Because in the third quadrant, x is negative and y is negative. In the first quadrant, cosine is positive, sine is positive. This one is negative, positive, and over here it's going to be positive, negative. So 53 is negative 225. This time we're going to go up here, and again it's going to be a 45 degree angle with the reference triangle. So this is going to be 1 root 2 over 2, because this angle is 45 degrees, and root 2 over 2. So cosine is x. This is going to be a negative number. So cosine is going to be opposite root 2 over 2, and the sine is going to be positive root 2 over 2. Okay, 54 is negative 45 degrees. Whoops. So go up, make it perpendicular with the x-axis. The radius is 1, and these two sides are root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2. So the cosine is you're going right root 2 over 2, and the sine is you're going down root 2 over 2, so that's negative root 2 over 2. And then 240, so 240 degrees is 180 plus 60 more. So you're going to make a perpendicular up to the x-axis. This is 60 degrees of your reference triangle. So in the 60 degree triangle, you have a hypotenuse is 1. The short side is half of the hypotenuse. And the long side is the short side times root 3. So this is going to be root 3 over 2. So the x values, you're going backwards a half, so it's negative 1/2. And the y value, you're going down root 3 over 2. Okay, then 62. So you draw 120 degrees. So 120 degrees is over here. And this, we didn't draw that very well. But 120 degrees is going to give you short 60 degrees. So this is a 60 side. It's not drawn to scale at all. But if this is the 30 degrees, the radius is going to be 1. The hypotenuse is 1 of the unit circle. This is the short side. This is 1/2. And this side is root 3 over 2. So the x value is you're going to go back negative 1/2. And the y value, you're going to go up root 3 over 2. Okay, then negative 90. So negative 90. This goes right here. So if the distance is 1, it's not really making a reference triangle. I don't have a reference triangle because if I draw perpendicular straight up, it's going to give me right to the x-axis. So if you think about this coordinate in the unit circle, this is going to be 1, 0, this is going to be 0, 1, this is going to be negative 1, 0, and this is going to be 0, negative 1. So the cosine of negative 90 is 0, and the sine is negative 1. Same with 360. I'm going to do 360. So 360, you're going to go all the way around and get to this coordinate right here. So in the unit circle, this is 1, 0. So the cosine of 360 is 1. and the sine of 360 is 0. And then same with 720. If I do 720, 1, 2. It's twice around the circle. You're going to end up right here. So the cosine of 720 degrees is 1, and the sine of 720 degrees is 0. Find the measure of each angle in standard position. So if this is 60 degrees right here, this is actually going to be positive 360 degrees. This angle right here is positive 120 degrees. And this angle right here is, you're going 360 minus 45, which is 315, so it's positive 315 degrees.